Can we safely say that artists are more or less politicians?
Well, you as a human being cannot move away from politics. As a human being at all, as far as you relate to another human being, then you are doing politics. As far as you're negotiating breakfast and lunch. You know, as far as you're talking to somebody and you're negotiating, it is politics. You know, and I do believe that everybody has to be into politics.
And there are some artists who, when you mention at the mention of their names, oh, this one is, really, really like an activist. But you try to play soft and slow and nice and easy and all. Why have you decided to cut that part?
I believe that, sometimes when you say you want to fight something, sometimes it's we don't have to fight all the time. And it is this combative, posturing, it sometimes it dissipates a lot of energy. For me, your activism can be positive. That is not to say that those who come out, to fight and physically go against things, they are doing a great job. But I'm saying all this negativity that pervades through our society would end immediately if everybody decides just to do the right thing.
Interesting.
It is so powerful. It's mindset. If people say, you know what, I'm going to wake up this morning and I'm going to create something beautiful. I'm going to say, I love my city. I'm going to find the best part of it and I'm going to show the world. And everybody does that. Nobody will throw trash out the window. Everybody will queue up and nobody will fight. Nobody will steal.
Do you have to be in a particular mood to be creative?
Well, creativity in itself is quite vague, there's a thin line between being creative and being crazy, and a lot of times for me, I need that calm. I need some peace and quiet. I need to be able to go into myself. And yes, a lot of times it's not within a predetermined environment, let's say inside your office, inside the four walls of your office. You don't engineer creativity that way. In fact, creativity abhors that kind of monotony. Most times the most creative ideas that come to me while I'm doing something else. Maybe I'm traveling, maybe I'm on holiday, or maybe I'm just out taking a walk, So sometimes I engineer it. I try to get that,
in the mood.
Yeah, that going. So, in the morning, take a long walk, make some exercise, create an environment of meditation. It does aid creativity. It helps you move away from yourself and see the world in a different way.
Do you have to be crazy to be creative?
Well, crazy is a very relative word. That's why when people are angry, they say, I'm mad at you, because there's a bit of madness involved in an extremity of emotion. When somebody is falling in love so passionately, they're also a bit crazy, People say, when somebody is so angry, they say he's mad, he's gone crazy. When somebody is so sad, they can go mad with sorrow, So I do think that being extremely passionate about a piece of creativity, it is a misunderstanding of the normal people. And they call you mad. Like the guy who has been looking for a way to measure mass of irregular objects. Usually you get a box and you measure this side and then you can calculate the mass. But how do you measure the mass of a piece of rock that has this whole irregular shape? The guy has been thinking about it until he went into a bathtub and he saw that the proportion of him going into the bathtub, it was similar to the proportion of the rising of the water. And as a scientist, I have been experimenting for years trying to figure out this thing. Just going into that bathtub and looking at the water being displaced solved it for him. The guy was so crazy about that discovery, he ran out of the bathtub, stark naked, and he was calling Eureka, Eureka, which I think was the name of his wife or something, to tell her about what he has discovered. And that gave birth to the Eureka can. But you see, that was a point of madness. You can see that this guy had been obsessed with solving a problem. So when you say, oh, do you need to be mad to be creative? You do need to be obsessed to create something extraordinary. And you see, somebody once described it like this. You're going somewhere, right? but you're not there. You're looking at where you're going to. And if you imagine where you're going to, you would prepare to go there. And in preparing to go there, you will be inappropriately dressed for where you are. For instance, if we're all here and my intention is go to Bar Beach and frolic in the water, and I dress for that purpose, I'm here and I'm wearing beach shorts and some flip-flops and a singlet, then I'm inappropriately dressed for this program. But for where I'm going to, I know I'm going to that. I'm the only one that knows. I know where I'm going to. I'm preparing for it. I will look odd in the present. And that's what happens to creative people.
Maybe that explains why you wear a dread. That explains why you wear a dread, because you're like, okay, by the time I'm done, they will understand. We're getting there. By the grace of God, we'll all be alive to see that day. Yeah. Now, what would you say is your most challenging work of art?
Challenging? Wow. What's my most challenging work of art? Interesting. It's a challenge. Every day, the work that we do. I mean, sometimes we'll have to travel, climb some mountains just to get a particular location. Sometimes you're putting yourself in a bit of danger with area boys in order to shoot in a particular place. I mean, it's a real struggle if you look at it that way, creating some of the work that we do, you know. But what is the most challenging? Sometimes photographing a 2-year-old, 1-year-old baby can be extremely challenging. More challenging than shooting a board of directors of average 70-year-old, you know, grumpy old men, you know, who have absolutely no time to look at your camera, you know.
That's true. That's so true.
Trying to get that baby to smile or do
what you want them to do.
So when you measure, it might be more difficult to shoot that baby in the studio than going to Regisha Falls, you know, to the third plateau to shoot a model against a waterfall. You know, I mean, it's interesting. I once had to, go on a helicopter, you know, with the windows open, trying to shoot Lagos skyline. You know, at the same time, I found myself climbing the mast of a ship, you know, to shoot, you know, some kind of oil rig. You know, so sometimes, you know, we have different types of challenges.
That's interesting. And speaking of models, you just mentioned models. I know you photograph a lot of them.
Yes.
I mean, it's like a daily thing for you. How do you manage them?
Well, you see, the truth is that you to see like an artist, you do need to look beyond the emotions of things. You also need to, you know, plot. I'm looking at these 3 things on the table here. There is a harmony of their shape, you know, being the same, but at the same time, you know, there is a disharmony of their variety of sizes that they come in. So at the end of the day, looking at a model, you know, the model is a part of a design that you have in your head.
And if they're naked?
It's the human form. And you must treat with respect. For me, it's God's creation. But again, you also need to be careful. What story are you telling with that human form? You see, you could have a fully clothed woman covering all her body, but yet the picture is terribly indecent. You know? And you could have a woman that is wearing absolutely nothing and the picture looks holy and heavenly. So it depends on the story inside your head that you want to tell.
What does it take to be an artist?
It takes dedication. It takes the urge, you know, to express oneself. It takes dedication. You need to make sure that you hone your craft to that level where you go beyond the craft, and it becomes a seamless flow. Your muscles and your faculties are working in a kind of intuitive way. Like, for example, you're watching a master pianist, and he's not looking at the keys. The music is inside his head. He's gone past the movement of hand, because then it's a natural extension of what he feels inside him, and the sound you're hearing is from inside his head. So you're no longer wondering how he's moving his hands. everything flows together. And it is as a result of years and years of ceaseless practice that he could do that. And I'm saying you need to work on your craft and at the same time go beyond just the craft. Have an opinion. For me, that's...
Who inspires you?
Who inspires me? Oh, wow, plenty.
I mean, you must have some artists in the world.
Oh, yes. I mean, at different times of my life, you know, I'm inspired by different artists.
Okay.
You know, at very early stage of my life, I used to really admire all the Michelangelo, you know, Leonardo da Vinci, Van Gogh, Picasso. I used to read a lot about them, you know. Then I got completely obsessed with the Impressionists, you know, Monet, the guy, you know, these guys painting light. So I started looking at that, and then, you know, the next stage, I started enjoying all these watercolorists, you know. And then, you know, with photography, fashion photographers completely blew me away because I could see that seamless flow between commercial art and pure art itself. There you are trying to sell clothes, but at the same time, you're making even political statements, you know, through that medium, and then you're talking to ordinary people, and I thought that was really, really interesting. So people like, you know, Herb Reeds, Peter Beard, Nick Knight, you know, a lot of Mario Testino, and a little bit, you know, a lot of names, you know. Then gradually again, I found myself, you know, going back. Then I start to look for inspiration away from photography, and then I start to look again at Things Fall Apart and Chinua Achebe's his way of completely twisting, you know, an Oyibo, an European thing, and taking the Africanness and rewriting the rules, you know, of engagement for writing. I said, wow, you know, this is interesting. So that the white man then looks at it and he knows, look, I cannot judge this guy with the same parameters I would judge George Eliot or Shakespeare, because he's writing like an Igbo man.
Would you say you are comfortable?
Comfortable.
Does the profession, does it pay your bills conveniently?
Yeah, take care of my family, take care of myself. What do you need? You know, you need a roof over your head, you need some good nutrition, good clothes, I mean, and be able to pay your children's school fees. What else do you, I don't, it depends, you know, what you call comfort. I've got my own house, you know. What you call comfort, some people will want 3 or 4 private jets, I don't know. You know, as far as I can continue my art and keep talking, you know. But life is a struggle, you know. I mean, yeah, it's what's the important thing. At the end of the day, happiness is a choice. No matter how much.
What makes you happy?
Yes, no matter how much you make, you know.
What makes you happy?
It's a choice. What makes me happy?
Kelechi Amadi
What makes I like. First of all, I enjoy hanging out with family and friends. You know, my art, yes, of course, gives me fulfillment. You know, but
does it not in any way distract you from family life?
Everything it has to be negotiated. You see, we have just 24 hours in a day. You know? So if you put more time into your art, then you're losing time somewhere else. If you can put all your time into family, then you're losing time in your art. So you have to negotiate. Everything has to do with balance, you see. Yeah.
And you've been married for how long now?
Over 11 years.
Over 11 years?
Yes.
That's married life like?
Beautiful. I love it.
You love it?
Yes.
Has it complemented your
yes,
profession?
Of course.
Or it has weighed you down a bit because of the time you have to, like, you know, spread out?
Yeah, what married life does to you, it makes you responsible. You know, it grounds you. So you know that, hey, you know, you are, you know, we artists, we tend to be selfish. You know, if nobody brought you up, then you wouldn't be, you know. And it is a responsibility, as far as I'm concerned, of everybody who has a good temperament to bring up a family. That is nation building, you know.
And with all this exposure, I mean exposure to the other sex, does it in any way, I mean, affect you?
How? I mean, it's like asking a gynecologist, you know. I mean, it doesn't have any effect whatsoever, you know. It's all in the head, you know. There are those who their job keeps them away from women, then they're obsessed with women.
Okay.
You know, there are those who their job puts them in the midst of women, you know, and, you know, they don't even So for me,
becomes no
for
big
me,
deal.
yeah, for me, it's you need to know what you're doing. It's about the story you're telling, and it goes beyond that.
How old are you?
Well, I was born in 1969, so I must be 45, 46 or thereabout.
You have that,
But it
young,
doesn't.
bubbling, entrepreneurial, all of it put to one. I mean, this is good packaging. Do you have to, do you have to is it a deliberate thing or it just happened?
It's me. You see, it's like I said, it's a decision. I mean, like some people say, age is in the mind, and it is the way you see the world that the world also tries to see you. I mean, I don't know. I also surround myself with a lot of young people. Yeah.
So, any plans to at least transfer this talent to
I'm constantly doing that. I always have some really core people who are doing apprentice where I teach everything. I also give seminars and talks. In fact, I'm trying to start doing video tutorials. That way, because I mean it's crazy. People every day I get 2 or 3 calls with people who want to come and apprentice with me. Otherwise, I don't have that both the time and the infrastructure for that kind of crowd. Imagine you're making somebody's portrait and 10 stereo-eyed assistants are watching. It's already a problem. Anyway, so what I'm doing now is I'm trying to find a way to use technology, and amplify this knowledge, and let anybody who cares to go to the internet.
Speaking of
pick it up.
Speaking of technology, now the world has gone technological. Now we have children taking pictures. Before now, it was a preserved for artists. You have your camera, and it's just an exclusive right of an artist, photographer, to own a camera. But everybody owns a camera now. In your own opinion, do you think it will help, really preserve that professionalism in photography?
Well, the truth is that the proliferation of the camera beyond, the professional camera, I mean, your phone is 41 megapixels. And the first time I started using digital cameras, I had a 3 megapixel camera, and I was shooting magazine editorials with that stuff, and it was, I mean, photographers were shooting billboards with 3 megapixels, So it has nothing to do with the equipment, but there's something new now. Everybody has the opportunity, or most people, I wouldn't say everybody, have the opportunity to hold a camera in their hands and make an image. And what that does is that it helps people discover their passion early. Like I could discover my passion because I can get my hands on a pencil and paper. Yeah? So if a child holds onto a phone camera and she likes the idea, she can discover that temperament early. But what it has done to the profession is that it has made it clear that it is not the equipment that makes the good images. It has differentiated, those who rely on the automatic camera to give them a picture. It has separated them from those who have the eye to see, you see. So now you've got super intelligent cameras inside your iPhone and your Nokia phone, hey, if everybody has it, then nobody has it. So people start watching out. How does he see? What was he pointing the camera at? What sort of lighting, what sort of design did he create with his photography? Then it's making the good photographers more apparent.
Speaking of good photographers, we have quite a few now.
Oh, well, I do think there's an explosion in the profession right now. So many people want to become photographers. And
professional photographers.
Yes, want to become professional photographers. And I see it's just starting.
Because again, now the roadside photographers, once upon a time you want to take a photo, you go into Photoshop and you do your thing.
Yes.
But now, obviously, people are beginning to do this thing themselves.
Yes.
They become photographers, personal photographers.
Yes.
A 2-year-old child, a 1-year-old child can actually snap a picture.
Exactly.
So now, is that not a threat to the profession?
That's what I was just trying to explain to you, that the fact that everybody has a camera has made it now possible to see those who are real professionals, those who have skills, because the skill is not just pointing the camera and shooting. The skill is understanding how you can tell a story with a picture. if everybody here is giving, we are giving cameras to document this conversation, you would see like so many different points of view. Yeah, but it's those who have the eye and who have skill that can make the powerful images.
Do you think this your photographic prowess, does it run in the family?
Does it run in my family?
Yeah.
Art, yes. I mean, my son is quite a very serious artist.
How many kids do you have?
I have 4.
You have 4?
Yes.
And you have 2 with us here today?
Yes. My daughter also, she draws.
She draws? Well. Okay. Let's give them their moment in the sun. Let's invite them on to Saturday. They're here.
Are you serious?
So, kiddies, can you come on and share the spotlight with your daddy? Here they come. Here they come. Come over here. Where's your daughter?
Yeah.
That's your... You can sit with me. Is this daddy's boy or daddy's girl now? Sit down. And you come over. Sit down. There they are. What's your name? Sorry?
Jachi.
Jachi. And you?
Suntu.
So are this your first?
Yes,
this is your first.
This is the first. She's,
and
she's the second.
So the second. Where's the third and the last?
Okay, that's.
Are they twins?
No,
they're just with mommy. Great. So how does it feel having daddy as a renowned photographer?
Feels great. He's very nice dad.
Okay.
Very amazing.
Oh dear, you must be rocking. You must be rocking. Your head must be falling off your shoulder now. At least he's doing something right. He's doing something right. So would you like to be like him? You like to be a photographer?
I like to be an artist.
You like to be an artist. What kind of art would you like to do?
Drawing.
Drawing. So it starts from there.
He's already
gradually to grow into photography. You know, you started from there as well. Yes. So maybe it's another recycling. You know, so it's a pleasure having you on Saturday night. Give me a handshake. And the princess of the house. You have another girl?
Yes, there are 2 girls.
2 girls, 2 boys.
Yes.
Wow, you really know how to balance. All right, thank you so much for coming on Saturday night. It's such a pleasure having you. And please keep doing the good job.
Thank you.
And one day you give me a portrait of myself. Promise me now.
No problem. No problem.
No problem. Yes. So if the day you don't give me, I'll announce it. I'll announce it that you promised and you failed me. So viewers, on that note, we want to say thank you for sharing this moment with us. It's been a pleasure having you there, sitting there in your comfortable room and wherever you are watching this program. Until next week when we'll come up with another interesting guest, it's been Saturday night. And like I always say, be kind to one another. Good night.